Is this how it feels to be God's least favored person on earth? Hi, welcome back. We're just going to ignore this light situation. I'm trying to take advantage of the only sunny day that we've seen in a month. If you hear any sounds, my little doggy is... What are you doing? Today we're going to be doing a tag. I know, tags are coming back. I feel like they're so fun. They're a wonderful way to give you book recommendation without like the usual boring, straightforward recommendations. This is the book recommendation tag. I feel like it's perfect. I think the creator is Steph Porter. I'm going to leave the original link down below, but I've seen this video on her channel and then I got inspired. So let's get on with the questions. A book you tell people is your favorite. This is the easiest question of my life. The Grey House by Myron Petrosian. My favorite book of all time. The answer hasn't changed in like 15 years and it's just the best. It talks about a house in which disabled kids gets thrown into by their parents for the summer. It's like a house school and inside it's totally not what it looks like. It's kind of like a magical realism book, but you don't know if it's truly magical or if it's the imagination of the kids that is doing all of this. Truly a spectacular book. My favorite of all time. A book that is your guilty pleasure. This is so easy. The All for the Game series. I've reread these books so many times. Are they actually terrible? They have terrible mental health representation, possibly an abusive relationship in it. They are just almost horrid in every aspect of the characters' relationship. Yes. Do I love them so much? Yes. Is there also a gang, a Japanese gang mafia plotline, which I usually fucking hate? Yes. I devour these books. They're my guilty pleasure. They're horrible and terrible, and I do not recommend them to you. I would never. But they were perfect. I love them. I have what I'm going to call an imposter book because I don't have the physical book, but I have another book that I could talk about. The lighting situation is getting so much worse. Okay. A book that everyone loved, but you didn't. Okay, so it's not a book, it's an author. I have here Normal People by Sally Rooney. I started this and I've read in its entirety Conversation with Friends. I really despise Conversation with Friends. I feel like Sally Rooney uses her characters as stand pieces for what she wants to write and say. I sometimes think that Sally Rooney truly wants to write newspaper articles about stuff that she wants to talk about, and instead she uses her characters, which throws the story into a spin because it's yeah, it's about the relationship between two characters. Do you know that the border situation is very, very difficult? Sally Rooney, if you want to write a blog, write a blog. If you want to write characters, write characters. I'm not even bothered by the lack of quotation marks because I've read French books. French books are the worst. French authors, you are the worst. Conversation with Friends. A book you read the fastest, The Cruel Prince. I have an entire vlog in which I've read the entire series, the Folk of the Air series, in 3 days. 3 book each, a book a day. It was so fast. I didn't necessarily love those books, but they were really good. A book that deserves more hype. August Kitco and Max from Space. I am a huge sci-fi fan. This is the queerest book that you'll ever see. It's like Evangelion, but if it was neon colors and not depressing. It's if you've seen the movie Premiere, it's that movie, but with giant robots fighting into space. And it's so good and it has one of the most beautiful queer relationships. So good. A book that is becoming a movie or TV show. Dune. Dune Part 2. I'm so scared for that adaptation. So scared. It's going to be either my favorite movie of all time of adaptations or the worst. I don't know. I'm sweating just thinking about it. Speaking of sweating, a book you've reread the most. Now I have two. One is Howl's Moving Castle. It's a perfect book. It's funny, it's charming, it's a hug from your friend who also practices witchcraft. But also, I have another one which I purchased recently. It's Have an Official Blessing. I've read the entire series, which is almost like, it's 5 or 6 books, possibly 4 times, and I've cried, I've been brokenhearted, I've laughed, and I've cried again. So many times. It's amazing. It's a Chinese-inspired web novel, and now it's a novel. It's about deities and about Chinese mythology, and it's, again, a queer romance that is like the end-all be-all of all queer romances. It's so good. It takes a while to get used to the writing style because it's translated from Chinese, but it's so good, it's so worth it. A book from a genre you don't typically read. Now, you've heard of autobiographies, but biographies is my least read genre, and no! Limonov by Emmanuel Carrère. My boyfriend recommended this book to me when we were like together for a month, and it's such a bizarre book because Limonov is such a bizarre character, and he was real. He was a real person that actually did all of these things. It's wonderfully written. Aside from the fact that Carrère, he knows this, he will tell you this, he's a narcissist. And you will feel it throughout the book. He talks about himself a lot for this being a biography about another person. It was bizarre, but it was so good. Book that deserves all the hype it gets. Book lovers. Emily and Harry books. Wait, I have one. This was my least favorite, still like 4 stars. Very good. Am I descending into madness to very deciding? Okay. But Book Lovers just stole my heart away. It was so good. The banter was incredible. It was a book for the people who like books. And I like books. I really like them. A book you usually recommend when asked to give a recommendation. Again, easiest question of my life since I've read this book. Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. I cannot give you a synopsis for this book because it's going to spoil everything. It's a mysterious, like, dark and atmospheric book that is going to, again, steal your heart away because it was incredible. It talks about research, it talks about loneliness, and it's truly magical. Aside from that, I cannot tell you anything else because it's going to ruin the fun. A book that has your favorite characters. Lockwood & Co. I am so happy that the series has come out and is like having a resurgence, like this series. Lockwood & Co. is like a steampunk novel about ghosts. There's like an epidemic of ghosts, and there are agencies that fight ghosts. Lockwood & Co. is the tiniest agency in London, and it's so funny and magical, and all the characters are funny and incredible and deep, and I love them so much. With my own money, when I was little, I bought the books in English. I did not know this level of English, and I read the books. This is going to tell you how much I love them. Book you wish you could live in. This is the only 3-star book. If you hear my dog barking, there's probably a cat outside. But it's so worth it because the romance was lacking, but the world building was wonderful. It's An Enchantment of Ravens by Michael Rogerson. So good. It really reminded me of Ghibli movies, and like Howl's Moving Castle, the scene in which Howl is in his room, that scene is the atmosphere of this book. It was so incredibly well written, and I wish the romance was on par with the world building, but alas. I'm going to read another book by this author in hopes that it's going to be better in the romance department, but it still was so good. A book you thought you would hate but ended up loving. Now, hear me out. I have a reason for this. Is it cheesy and sometimes so awkward? Yes. I really like it. It's the limited edition, this one. Like, it has 2 covers. It's so pretty. I have to say, Love on the Brain, the second book by Elia Hazelwood, is far better. It's the updated version of this book, and it's better. It's this book without the cringy parts. I really think it would be worth your time if you like fun fiction, like AO3 fun fiction. This could be good. Love on the Brain, so good, so good. I cannot wait for Love Theoretically, or Theoretically Yours. What was it called? Like the third book. I cannot wait. Book that made you cry. So easy. The Darkness Outside Us. This is not like a fun queer romance in space. This is a survival story. And it's so sad and it's so good. It talks about these two kids, because they're kids, they're so young, they're like in their 20s. They get sent for a mission into space and they realize that that's not what they're there for, and they have to survive until they find this planet. It's incredibly well crafted. The mystery, the love story, the ending was so great. I cried multiple times during this book. It was very emotional, very well written. And lastly, a book you wish you could read for the first time. Less by Andrew Shankar. It's one of my favorite books of all time. I read it and I was like, yeah, this is good. And then I thought about it. And I thought about it and I thought about it for a month. There was like one phrase in the book that talks about being a bad gay. And it was incredible. I think it changed my life in the way that I view my queerness. And when a book does that to you, you want to read it for the first time every day. It was incredible. Incredible experience for me, incredible book. The sequel was also really good, not as like transforming and magical, but still super good, like Last is Lost. This concludes our tag. It was a struggle, but now that the lighting is kind of good, even though no, it's not. But yeah, I hope you have fun. Tags are fun. If you're watching this and you want to do this tag, I tag you. There was once a thing in which you could only do a tag when people tagged you, but I'm going to tag everybody that is watching this video so that you can do it. It's fun. I'm going to leave the questions down below and I hope you like it. Feel free to answer the question in the comments if you want to, and check out my socials, they're down below. I'm most active on TikTok, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. I have a thing prepared for next time, I think. So be prepared. Bye. Love you.